The Honeydew Company, established in 10,000 BC, because having a happy wife is a happy life.
So today on the honeydew list, we're going to be replacing the gasket on our refrigerator. The one that was in there is torn and it's not sealing well. So we're going to get rid of that one and we're going to install a new gasket today. Today's project's fairly simple. It's probably a 1 on the difficulty scale. All you really need is just a Phillips head screwdriver. If you don't want to just use the Phillips head, you can use a drill with a clutch on it. And what a clutch is, we're not going to go into huge detail, but a clutch is this little, right there, this little turn. And what it does is, I can hold that with one finger. So it doesn't drive the screws in. You can set it the way you want it, where it's a little bit harder. I can't hold that with one finger, but I can hold it with 2. And if you go all the way over here, you can't hold it at all. So it sets the torque on your drill so that you don't strip out screws on something as simple as this. It's just plastic. You could probably set it down here somewhere around 3, 4 or 5 would probably be just enough clutch to drive those screws in and not strip anything else out. So a drill with a clutch on it, or you could just do it by hand. And you also may need a flathead screwdriver just to pry out on that panel to get some space in there to get the gasket in. So let's install that gasket. Pulled the old gasket off of the refrigerator. Somehow it got broken and torn at the bottom and scratched up, or probably from animals. But what we're going to do today, we're going to replace the old factory gasket with a new gasket. Behind the old gasket, just a bunch of screws, right? Up and down the whole fridge, all the way across the bottom. They're not tight, so this can be done with just a screwdriver, or you can just bump it with a drill. We're just going to back all of these out just a little bit to loosen the whole thing up. And we're going to do that around the whole fridge. I just want to loosen them. I don't want to bring them all out. I tell you what, I'll get them to see. Let me get over spots. Quit feeding the dog down. Okay. So this whole panel should be loose, and it is. So that's going to give me enough space right in here just to be able to get the gasket behind it. So you definitely don't want to take the screws all the way out, because that's going to be a headache to try to get them back in there. So just loosen them. Let's go grab our gasket. So I got the gasket sitting out in the sun. The instructions actually said, so it comes in this box, this small box, all wrapped up. And the instructions say, hey, use a hair dryer on it to loosen it up, or put it in the washing. I mean, it literally said put it in the dryer, or put it in a tub of warm water. Guys, the easiest way to do this is just set it out in the sun for about 5 or 10 minutes, and it's loose. So now if it's wintertime, you might have to do something else. But if it's spring like it is now here, or summer, just set it outside for a few minutes. It'll soften it up, get all the wrinkles out of it, and then we can go install it. So that's the reason we loosen the panel up, so we can get this little flexible edge behind the panel. So let's go do that. We'll start at the top and let gravity help us. Now that I've gotten around this corner, I got the gasket in down to about right here. I'm just going to tighten these two screws up just so it doesn't slip. And it's plastic, guys, so we don't have to go super tight. Work our way down, kind of the same way. If you can see it better here, holding the back, pushing this flat against the fridge, and just popping it in as we go. There we go. So I want to be sure that the bottom corner goes in. A lot of times if you work your way down, you'll be really loose at the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and tap in that bottom, or put in that bottom, and work out the slack, if there is any, through the middle. My two top corners are in, so we're going to be sure both of these are snug down. I'm going to work this one down just a little bit. There we go. There we go. All right, we're going to snug up these corners. Now I can go ahead and so I can go ahead and work across the top because this is exactly the way that we need it. So I'm gonna go ahead and work those screws across the top. Holding it down as I work these screws, and I'm going to go from the outside to the inside, just so if there's any slack or anything, I don't cause it to bunch all the way up on one end, which I'm not pulling on it, so I'm just pushing it down slightly, and in the middle. So that worked out really nice. So basically we're just, if you need to move it, you could use a flathead in the tighter spots, but in these bigger spots, you can just kind of grab the fridge and pull it out to get the gasket to go behind there. It goes behind there fairly easy if you have space. If you find a spot that's kind of tight, that it doesn't want to go in, like maybe right there, just pull on the fridge a little bit, and it should snap right in there. The only difficult part about this is that it is, okay, so that's, sometimes it gets caught, I don't know if you can see that, the plastic piece gets caught on the screw, so you got to pop it away from that screw so you can get behind it. Hear that? That's it. Now, there we go. I'm going to run it in all the way down. To be sure that you're all the way in the gasket. You put your finger in here. Looks like that may be out. Yeah, that may be out a little bit. We're going to redo that corner. But put your finger in here against this flat side and just kind of push all the way down like that, and it lets you know that you're in there pretty good. So let's go ahead and tighten it down. When you're pulling this gasket back, I'm pushing it with this finger to be sure it doesn't pop out. Go back up here. All right, so now we're going to check over it, make sure everything's flat. So we have a little bit of problem right here. You actually don't want this up here like this because it's going to end up pulling away and messing up your whole gasket. Let's see if we can get a closer shot of that. Right there, see how it's out? You don't want that. So we're going to loosen that up and fix it. Loosen it up just a hair here. Loosen up the corner. And really I just need this corner to slide in. There it goes. Yeah, I felt it slide in. All right. I'll tighten that back down. All right, there we go. All right, guys, let's see if it works. So listen to the suction here. All right. That's the factory seal. And it's hard to open. Now this one, it comes open really easy and you don't hear that seal. So I don't know how well this seal's gonna do. Let's try to listen again. All right, so it creates a seal, but it's definitely not as strong as the factory. All right, so we finished up the installation on the gasket. We did buy an aftermarket gasket, which was about 40 bucks. I believe that the original gasket for the fridge was 130, somewhere right around there. Just because of the seal, how much better of a seal that the factory gasket has. There's a noticeable difference. So I'm gonna recommend the factory gasket. If you don't have the $130, $40 to spend on the factory gasket, you can pick up this gasket. It's about 40 bucks. It'll work. It's just not as good as the factory. All right, guys, it looks good. So one more project off the honey-do list. And remember, do your honeydews, because if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. See you next time.